Hi friends, it's Auntie Heather from Art Explorium here with another fun video art tutorial for you to try at home. We are going to do an inverted paper collage today, and a collage is probably something you know where you glue pieces of paper or other items onto a background, and we're going to do that today with paper strips. But also we're going to do it a little bit different because it's inverted, so we're going to make the collage kind of pop through a little hole in the paper. So I'll explain how to do it, but this is my example that I made. So the collage is underneath and then this paper is kind of covering it, but the collage is popping through, so it's like inverted. So just so you know what supplies you're going to need, you're going to need to cut up a piece of cardstock or a cereal box, something like this, and you don't want it to be too small. And then you're going to need a piece of paper that's going to be the cover piece of paper, like this. So a bigger sheet of paper, at least bigger than your cereal box, so it would cover it. And then you're going to need some scissors, a pencil, a glue stick is great if you have it. Regular glue will work, but a glue stick is preferred. And then you're going to need some strips of paper. You could tear up magazines or cut up magazines, or if you have some paper at home. Tearing is kind of cool. It makes it a little rough around the edges, or you can cut cleaner strips depending on what you prefer and how you want it to look. So also, if you would like to hang up your collage when you're done, you might want to have a hole puncher and also some string or yarn so that you can use that to punch a hole and then hang it somewhere like in your room. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a shape onto our piece of paper that's going to be the top of our collage. So one easy way to do the outline of the shape, because that's a little tricky to cut, is you fold your piece of paper in half, and then you're going to do like a symmetrical shape. So I'm going to do a leaf, and so if I draw half of the leaf on this side of the paper, then I cut it out and I'm going to open it and I'm going to have the whole entire leaf shape. So you could really do this with a lot of different shapes. You could do like a sun, you could do a butterfly. So you're going to want to cut this drawing, and you want it to fit onto your cardboard box. So mine is just going to fit if I put it at a diagonal angle. So that's good to me. So I am going to cut my leaf shape out. So here's my leaf shape. And this is actually the part that we're going to use for our collage. So let me just make sure that our cutout fits over the backing. And yes, it barely does, so that's going to work for us. And don't worry about this little line. I'm just using an old piece of cardboard, so ignore that. It's going to get covered. Okay, so I'm going to just put these kind of all over my background. So I'm going to get a mix of different colors and shapes, and I'm going to just start gluing them on. Once in a while, you might want to get your shape of your leaf or whatever you're making and just put it over it and see how it's looking. If there's any spots that need to get filled up a little bit more, then you can start working on those areas. And I don't have to fill every little spot. I kind of like having a little bit of a brown background with this project because, you know, that's kind of how the forest is. It has some browns and some yellows, and a leaf could have some browns and yellows and oranges on it. So you don't have to fill up the whole thing. You're just kind of making a cool image out of your paper scraps. So now we're going to add our glue to the outside of our cover piece of paper along the edges of our cutout so that we can stick it down and we can cover our collage and our colors will peek out. And it doesn't need to be perfect. You can always add a little more glue later. So just make sure you get along the edges of your cutout, and then you can add more to wherever it's needed later. And now we're going to flip over our entire collage so that we can just trim those excess pieces of paper off around the edges. So just use the backing, your cardboard box, as a backing to just follow those lines, and you can clean it up and just cut those extra pieces of paper off. And then if you want, you could punch a hole like up here and hang it in your window with some yarn or something like that. But that's basically the inverted fall leaf pattern collage. And you could try this with lots of different things for different holidays. You could do a Christmas tree with Christmas colors. You could do a sunset with different sunset colors. So lots of different ways you can make this inverted collage, and it kind of just has a cool effect of peeking through, and that's how it looks. After you finish your final inverted paper collage project, you might want to add a little color. So I got out my crayons and I added some leaves to it. I drew on the background there, and I also colored this part brown to make it look sort of like a tree trunk. So if you want, you can add more in color after you finish your project, or you can just skip that part depending on how you feel. And we would love to see your finished projects. So if your parents are okay with it, please feel free to share them with us on our social media accounts, and we can share them with our community. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.